Kelsey. This is my channel, The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I am wearing one of my fancy booktube hats, and today I'm bringing you a Top 5 Wednesday video. Top 5 Wednesday is a Goodreads group originally created by Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey, currently moderated by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. I'll leave the link down below so you can check it out. Every week there is a different topic, and you can pick a list of 5 books to recommend for that topic on whatever social media platform you have. And this week's topic is summer reads. Now, as you may know, I've said before, I am not a seasonal reader, but I still think this is a bit of a fun book recommending game to try and pick things that other people might think are good summer reads. And when I was filming my last haul video yesterday, I did have a couple things where I was like, oh, this might be a good thing to read over the summer if I were, you know, trying to be seasonal about it. And so that got me thinking, yeah, I'd like to do this topic today. I have some things I could recommend. So specifically, one of the books that I hauled in yesterday's video that I thought, I bet this would be a good summer read was the third book in a trilogy that I'm going to recommend to you. This is the first book in this trilogy. This is The Queen of Blood by Beth Durst, and the series is called The Queens of Renthia. Now, I am primarily a fantasy reader, and I sort of get this feeling a lot that a lot of people don't think that fantasy is a summery genre. And me, not being a seasonal reader, just being like a year-round fantasy reader, I always look at that and I'm like, what? Why is it we can only read contemporaries in the summer? But I do think there's this sense that, like, the big hunkin' fantasy epics, which are not so much what I read, but what a lot of people think of first when they think of fantasy as a genre, those are things that people like to tackle, you know, in the fall and the winter when it's cold outside, and you can huddle inside with your big chunky book. This, however, is an epic fantasy trilogy that's really the opposite of that because they are not that long, and they are very quick reads. These use a lot of fun, entertaining fantasy tropes that are just easy to slide right into, but I think of them as being fairly guilt-free in the use of these tropes because of the ways that Durst cleverly plays with some of the expectations that some of the story elements that she uses set up. And yes, I am hoping to read the third book in this series, The Queen of Sorrow, this summer. I do think there's something to be said for reading action-packed adventure in the summer. And if you're looking for one of those, I might recommend Arabella of Mars by David D. Levine. This is another one where I have the next book in this series, the second book in this series, Arabella and the Battle of Venus, and I haven't read it yet, and I'm thinking maybe I should read it over the summer. Maybe this is the summer I'll turn into a seasonal reader, who knows? This has the feeling of, like, nautical seafaring adventure, but in space. This is a world where there is air between the planets, and so you can sail through space to other planets on, like, these modified sailing ships with, you know, big sails. And it's about a girl named Arabella who is from an inhabitable Mars, finds herself back on Earth and then has to get back to Mars to stop a conspiracy, so she disguises herself as a boy on this ship to get there. If all of the excitement is not your thing for the summer, if you want a more languorous read to sit back and let it wash over you, maybe something not too heavy, maybe something with just some beautiful magic and a charming romance, may I recommend The Belet Seeley Head by Patricia A. McKillip. This is a small-town fantasy novel. It feels very cozy to me. It's a standalone. It's got lovable characters, unfathomable magic, and hilariously terrible food. Now, if you want to spend your summer with a witty, charming narrator character, I would recommend the Lady Trent series, the Memoirs of Lady Trent, by Brennan. I am holding up the second book here, The Tropic of Serpents, because I've lent out my copy of the first book, A Natural History of Dragons. This is a 5-book series. I've read the first 3, and I think that Lady Trent's telling of her life story would be a fabulous way to spend a summer. There's a wonderful combination of propriety, wit, academia, and adventure in this series, in which Lady Trent now at the end of her career, tells the story of her life as the world's preeminent dragon naturalist. And the way the story swings between science and social scandal is just sort of, I don't know what about it feels summery. I'm having a hard time articulating. It's definitely the sort of thing that's told in a slightly lighter tone without being devoid of substance. There's still plenty of substance in this series. And last but not least, to me, the genre, the type of book that most screams summer is middle grade. And I think for me that's because when I was a kid growing up reading middle grade books, when I was in the middle grade age range, I was doing a lot of my reading over the summer when I had free time. And so for me, that type of book is sort of deeply attached to the notion of summer in my psyche. And I'm going to combine this recommendation for I think you should read middle grade in the summer with a recommendation for an author that I think you should read in the summer for completely different reasons in one book, with The Wee Free Men by Terry Pratchett. So this is a middle grade fantasy novel. It's one of my absolute favorites. It is also from an author who writes many adult books that I think are also great summer reading. I think anything in the Discworld series is fabulous summer reading. Gosh, I was reading Hogfather last summer, which is Terry Pratchett's Christmas-themed Discworld book, and I was thinking to myself, ho ho ho, isn't this great summer reading because it's Terry Pratchett? And I was like, wait, this is a Christmas book. It was still great summer reading. So yes, I would recommend reading middle grade over the summer. I would recommend reading Terry Pratchett over the summer. I would recommend reading Discworld over the summer. I would recommend reading the Tiffany Aching series, which is this sub-series of the Discworld, over the summer. I should plan some of those things into my summer reading as well. So these are some things I might recommend as summer reads. As I've said before, I am not usually a seasonal reader, so you might look at this and say, Kelsey, what the heck, you have no idea what a summer read is. How do you think this? And it's true. I maybe have no idea what a summer read is. But I think what's fun about this sort of thing is seeing that different people sort of associate different types of books, different types of storytelling with different seasons, and it's sort of a very personal association. Anyhow, let me know if you agree, disagree, let me know if you have any thoughts. Anyhow, I hope you're having a nice day, and I hope you have a nice summer. Unless it is the start of winter for you, because it is the start of winter in some parts of the world. Anyhow, I hope you have a nice season. That is all. Bye for now.